So we are having a lunch break. Beautiful fourth day of snowboarding here in Davos, Switzerland, and it's so good now to be here, but it's so easy to put things like that off. I regretted not making the time last year to at least go snowboarding for 3 or 4 days, which should be easy, right? Like out of 365 days, to make 3 or 4 days to do what you really want to improve on, what you're passionate about, where you're active, where you meet people, where you get cool content, cool memories. And I still didn't do it because it's so easy to put things like that off because it just requires a little extra effort, right? You have to travel somewhere, you have to rent gear, you have to move your body in new ways. So think about that. What are you putting off? What do you know intuitively? It would be great if you would do it, if you would be there. Now that I'm there, it's amazing. But you're not putting on the struggle, or you're not putting in the effort basically to do it, and you're not making the time, and you are coming up with kind of shitty excuses. Most common excuses are like, I'm busy, or this project is launching, or after that last thing then I'll do it, or once I got this amount of money, or once I got those tasks done, or once this is closed then I'll do it. So be careful with that. The best thing about this trip is how it came together. It was a very good friend of us. He actually just wanted a romantic holiday with his girlfriend, so he booked a hotel for him and his girlfriend. But then the girlfriend had to go to a congress for her work to a totally different town. So he had this apartment. So he asked me and my friend, hey, do you want to stay? And then we were like, okay, but hey, shouldn't we then also bring some girls? And he's like, oh yeah. So we called a lot of girls, hey, can you ski, can you snowboard? So then some girls came. Then I told another friend, hey, I'm doing this trip with a lot of girls, you should also come. He's like, oh, there's gonna be girls? Yeah, cool. Can I bring one as well? So he brought one. And then we met another guy. He's like, then 2 girls already left. Oh, let's bring 2 more. So every day it's like a totally new group, which is so much fun. And what's the principle in there? If Matteo, our good friend, wouldn't have booked this trip in the first place, none of it would have happened. None of the other people could have said, hey, this is already happening, do you want to join? So it's the first mover principle that is so important if you want to get shit happen. And either you take the lesson and you become the first mover. It's very good to take initiative, to become the leader, to be the leader, to make things happen, and people will be thankful for that. Obviously, with that comes some responsibility and often costs, to be honest, because then depends on your network, but you might sit on the costs of certain things. But yeah, remember that talking about things that you could do with guys, or like figuring out plans, is so much worse than making a decision, booking something, even if it's not even the thing you want, or it will end up as a totally different thing. But the fact that he just booked one room with his girlfriend ended up being like a 12-people trip on totally different dates, different rooms, different hotels than initially. But he made the first move, and out of that came something. So use that principle in your life. Another friend of mine, he's a good businessman. He's running a big company at a young age. He uses this when people cannot make a decision where they should eat. It's always this annoying decision. Should we go to this restaurant or this? Or are you vegetarian? Oh, I like this restaurant. I was there once. No, it sucks. The service is slow. And you just go on and on. It's so annoying. So he just says, okay, we go to McDonald's. And he heads to McDonald's. And then people are forced to make a decision quick because you're like, no, we go to McDonald's. You have a better idea? No? Okay, we go to McDonald's. So as long as they don't have one, he sticks with that. And then they're forced to make some better plan quickly. So that's how you can accelerate a decision so much faster. Yeah, and then still on this topic of first mover principle, it's obviously true with holidays and restaurants, but it's true for so many other bigger things, not just leisure stuff, where, you could say, oh, I really want to I want to follow a different career path. I would love to be a media designer. I would love to do design, but I'm stuck in my job. Just quit without having a perfect plan after, because the act of you quitting and not having a job will accelerate your design or path 10x at least, or, oh, I want to be good with women, just go on the street and say hi to 5 girls. What else? Buy a course, I guess. Buy one of our courses where you invest money. The best guys I coached when I was doing consultation on the phone, they made the decision super fast because they knew if they would drag it out, they would say no, because all those excuses would come back, right? Oh, it's a lot of money to do a workshop with TNL. I can try it myself. I'll just I'll just watch some more YouTube videos. I'll just read a book and try that out. They're just like, okay, how much is the deposit? Okay, tell me the bank details. Okay, it's done. Those are the kind of guys who get shit done because they make a decision, and then because they made the decision, that one first move or principal decision, they're forced to make all those other decisions afterwards, right? They need to go to a country, they need to talk to a lot of girls, they need to coach with me. So do the first step, which is always the most uncomfortable one, which will lead to so many other good things. That's really, and then imagine that like multiplied. You do that 5-10 times a year, every year with different things. You will move so much faster than other people. And I can relate to that because as an engineer, an engineering background, you literally get taught in school to think about different solutions, to think things through, to calculate all the scenarios. So it makes sense if you're building a bridge, right? You want to make sure the thing holds and cars can drive on it. But when it comes to your personal life, especially like lifestyle, women, social stuff, where there's so many more variables that you cannot even calculate, it's very easy to get stuck. And basically with those things, it's like, one example is my first tattoo, right? I have like, I don't know, 10 more tattoos now. I always liked the style. I knew I'm gonna have a lot of tattoos. But the first one took me like 2 years to decide. Like it took me 2 years to get the first tattoo. And it was such a weird mental struggle because it was such a big deal before I had it. Once I had the tattoo, it wasn't a big deal anymore. And it's the same with so many things, right? Like thinking about approaching a girl on the street is so much more pressure, so much more difficult than doing it or having it done, right? So the imagination of how something will be is so many times so much more difficult and struggling and like so filled with fear than the actual reality, which is easy to say, and it's the best way to learn is to do it, right? But keep that in mind, you know, many things are way easier once you've done them, so you got to do them. And yeah, especially engineers, you know, very analytical guys, which are a lot of our clients. They do that more than anybody else because, as I said, they learn it in school and it serves their purpose in the professional side. So you really have to work extra hard to be a bit of a risk taker, right? A bit of a clown, to be ready to embarrass yourself even more than other people, because you haven't practiced embarrassing yourself your whole life. You haven't practiced doing something else. You haven't practiced letting loose, trying things out as much as other people do. You have practiced a lot of calculation, right? And being smart and mathematical stuff, which is great. It makes good money and you're neat, but it blocks you with so many other things. And the beautiful thing is once you let go more and more, it snowballs. You can get in momentum with that. And it becomes easier over time. You know, I'm way more socially free now. Approaching a girl now is way easier than it was. Getting a new tattoo is more fun, less stressful now. Planning a holiday is easier, making new friends is easier, reaching out to people is easier, complaining at a restaurant is easier for me, you know, like requesting things is easier for me, making myself the center of attention for like putting pressure on me is easier. So it gets easier over time, but you have to start it. Best example of my analytical brain, like we came to this restaurant here, which looks beautiful, right? It's a beautiful day, I'm happy, I'm in a good mood. But then they have those little machines where you order stuff. And my first thought is like, that thing, like the waitress, she's a nice lady, but the thing froze like twice. So we had to order 3 times because she had to get back in, reconnect it with the Wi-Fi. And I'm like, I'm shocked. Like, I'm like, how the fuck can you own this beautiful restaurant, which probably makes hundreds of thousands of euros, right? Because there's massive amounts of tourists coming through. And the one device that runs 100% of all the revenue is just like broken, just doesn't work properly, probably doesn't work half of the time. I'm like, how is that not the first thing you're gonna replace? Probably costs like $200 per device times 6 waitresses, like fucking an investment of $2,000 to make the thing 20% more efficient. And I'm like calculating all this in my brain, and I'm telling her like, who is the boss here? How does they, like, not in a mean way, I'm like, I want to help those people. Like, they clearly don't have an engineer mindset. So yeah, I'm thinking about it all the time, and it's kind of fun for me. And I walk in a place and I see, if they would reposition the kitchen this way and the cashier here, then the floor would be better here. So, you know, my brain still works that way. And I'm not telling anybody, stop being smart, stop being an engineer, be dumb, you know. But have both, you know, grow the other brain as well. So yeah, I feel ya. Then she's like, sorry, we're in a hill and the Wi-Fi is really bad. I'm like, you sure? I have an American SIM card. I got LTE running on 4 bars. my IP is in the US because it's a Google Fi card, which gives me global LTE internet. And you're telling me that the Wi-Fi is slow? Like, I don't think so. I can watch YouTube videos through, and my IP address is in New York City. And you're telling me you can make a single order over 5 meters? Like, come on, it's easy to fix. I could fix it in 2 minutes. It's not her fault. She's nuts. She thinks the Wi-Fi is slow. She doesn't know. She didn't have a cool brother who introduced me to Google Fi. He was a really nerd, you know. Oh shit! Now the Apfelstrudel is cold. Why did you eat?
Jeden Tag ist Sieger, ja, das stimmt.
Alex, you come with us. It was interesting today. I was riding a lot only with Larissa, and it's the 4th day, and it was less exhausting. Although I was riding more today, and I wonder why. Although I didn't even sleep that much. It just reminds me of that podcast episode of Tim Ferriss and this David Silver guy, what was his name? Silva? He was telling the story that usually, I don't know, it takes him like 47 minutes for the complete ride. And then one day he's like, okay, I'm gonna do like best time. I'm gonna try really hard, go really fast. And he like was riding and riding super fast, you know, putting all the energy in, bam, 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 bam. Exhausted by the end of it. He was like, wow, must be best time. And then instead of 47 minutes, it was like 45 minutes and 40 seconds. So it was like 1% faster, but way more exhausted. So maybe because I took it chill today and was totally at my speed. Wasn't stressing that somebody has to wait for me. Was trying some tricks. Maybe that's why it was in the end more enjoyable and more energy saving. Burger, 2 pasta, 1 cheesecake, 6 old fashioned. What is this? 1 bottle of Pinot Noir and 1 hot chocolate. 6 old fashioned. I don't know what my life has become to. I just wanted to come to be active and ski, and what I ended up with is this. What is that? I never eat sandwiches. What happened? The first part I thought is like I shouldn't have had 5 old fashioned. I should have had 2 or 3. With the same level of drunkenness.